important position in sports. We got you covered in our QB Continued series, our month-long look at the biggest stars in the NFL. It all starts next Monday. Don't miss it right here on First Take.
You know what? I heard a wise man once say, a hungry dog's going to run faster. If you hungry, you're going to get what you want.
Touchdown! Kansas City! And the Chiefs' kingdom has firmly planted its flag on top of football's highest summit. And the Kansas City Chiefs are champions of Super Bowl 54.
Something's different about our next guest since the last time we spoke to him. Obviously, one of the best safeties in the NFL consistently, but now a Super Bowl champ. Tyrann Mathieu with us. Thank you so much for being here.
Thank you. Appreciate you guys having me.
Yeah. Tyrann, talk to me about the big news of the week. Obviously, Tom Brady getting out of the AFC, away from teams like you guys and the Chiefs and Patrick Mahomes, and heading to Tampa Bay. Your thoughts on that move?
So I was surprised. My guess was, he was going to go to L.A., especially with the announcement of his, new production company. But I think him and Bruce Arians are going to have a great relationship. I think, Coach Arians is one of those kind of guys that, really rallies around veteran players. And, he he likes to coach those guys. And I think Tom Brady will, obviously bring a lot to Tampa Bay. And it'll be high expectations for those guys, right off the bat.
Tyrann, when I watch you guys, first of all, congratulations on the Super Bowl championship. I thought one of the turning points was when I saw you on the sideline going off, imploring your boys to step up after y'all were down by about 10. But I got to ask you this question because there's so many people, when they talk about Tom Brady, they bring up the path of easier resistance or easiest resistance. Patrick Mahomes, your quarterback, is that dude right now. Nobody can deny that. He's the best in the game. But the thought of not wanting to go against him as being incentive for any quarterback, to me, takes away from competitive fervor. Just from a generic or a general perspective, how do you feel as a football player when you hear former football players on the air talking about the need to avoid Patrick Mahomes if you want some level of success? What's your thought process about that kind of thinking?
Yeah, for one, I think Pat Mahomes is special. I think he's going to be, one of the best quarterbacks to really ever play the game. I think, in my opinion, when I think about Tom Brady, I understand that he's probably one of the, the greatest competitors of our generation. He's one of those quarterbacks that always got the job done. So I've never really looked at him as a guy to, per se, take the easy way out. I feel like he's always a guy that's really proven himself, and I think the next challenge for him is to go to Tampa Bay and try to make those guys really a championship caliber team.
You're actually one of my favorite players to watch. I know I'm not alone in that sentiment. And we just came off a segment where we were talking about running backs getting paid and how they don't get paid. I know you've had some comments about that recently, especially as it relates to Tennessee. But from my point of view, it's the nature of the position. All football players are underpaid. If that wasn't the case, there wouldn't be a salary cap, because if you took that away, you'd all get more. So we know you're underpaid. Let's start there. But within that, quarterbacks are overpaid, and that's the way it is. They are. That's why when you pay them, you don't win championships. And other positions are underpaid. You, for example, are pegged around $13, $14 million a season in your contracts. Quarterbacks are pegged higher. What is your feeling about the segment we just talked about, that subject matter? For example, Tennessee, Tannehill gets paid, Derrick Henry gets franchised.
Yeah, I mean, it's frustrating, especially, from a player perspective. I've had the opportunity to actually play against, both of those guys, actually. And in my opinion, I feel like Tennessee really leaned on Derrick Henry. They didn't necessarily lean on Ryan Tannehill, although Ryan Tannehill stepped up in some big moments and had some big games for them. I feel like Derrick Henry was really their personality. He was their attitude, and he was really their morale, a lot of the times throughout the season. So, to see a guy like that kind of get pushed to the side is definitely frustrating for a player.
Tyron, I have a lot of formers here in this next question. So you're a former Texan, your former teammate, DeAndre Hopkins, gets traded to your former team, the Arizona Cardinals. What's your reaction to that news?
Yeah, I was probably just as shocked as everybody else. I really couldn't imagine, DeAndre Hopkins really not, retiring, in the Texans uniform. I, spent the season with him, a couple years ago, and he's probably everything you want in a player, especially a teammate, man. Not only the things he does, on the football field, Monday nights, Thursday nights, Sunday nights. It's the kind of impact he had in the community as well. He was one of those guys that was always out there. He was very vocal about, especially the voiceless. He gave a lot of people hope in Houston. So I think to see him go is definitely shocking. But to see him unite with his greatest, mentor and Larry Fitzgerald, I'm pretty sure those guys are going to do something special in Arizona.
So since he's gone from the AFC, obviously the Kansas City Chiefs are the reigning Super Bowl champions or whatever. When you look at the competition around the AFC, Tom Brady is gone. D-Hop is no longer in Houston. There's still Deshaun Watson in Houston, no. There's still Lamar Jackson in Baltimore. When you look at a threat to the supremacy of the Kansas City Chiefs at this particular moment in time, what team comes to your mind that y'all need to watch out for more than anybody?
Well, I think, I don't mean to say this, Stephen, but I think every team, we should watch out for. But I think you got to look at a team like the Baltimore Ravens. You got to, first of all, you got to look at the guy that's really leading that ship in Lamar Jackson. And, he's so humble, he's so hungry, and the sky's the limit for him. And I think he'll continue to push that team, that franchise to really great heights. And you look at some of the pieces that they were able to add, the last couple of days in free agency. I think they're trying to make a run for it. So I definitely see the Ravens in there, and but never take lightly, really any opponent, in the NFL.
Looking at the other side of the ball, as someone who you'd have to worry about if you were playing them, I look at Tyreek Hill, and I think there's a sense about him early on in his career. He's like a special teamsy kind of player, and so people haven't caught up on the reality. Like when you hear the best receivers in football, a lot of times his name is left off. But is he the best receiver in football? It seems that he's underrated. What are your feelings about Tyreek Hill?
I think, in my opinion, he's definitely one of the best receivers in football. I've had a chance to really practice against him, go up against him in one-on-ones, no cameras. And he's crafty. And I think a lot of times that get overshadowed just simply by his speed. You got to understand a lot of times when he lines up, he's lining up in two-man coverages, cover two coverages. So, his route combinations get limited in a sense. So I think anytime he has the ability to show that he is an elite route runner, especially in like that route that he ran in the Super Bowl, I think more and more people will begin to pick up on him. I think it's just that, he's so fast and that people they're kind of stuck on his speed and they don't necessarily pay attention to really how crafty he is and really his work ethic.
Tyron, the first time I got to interview you way back in the day, you were just a young buck at LSU. There's another LSU great who's entering the draft. That would be one Joe Burrow. He's garnered a lot of attention. Tell me from your perspective, what do you think he's going to bring to the NFL?
Well, I think he's going to bring some juice. He definitely has some swagger. I think if anybody has really followed LSU football and has really seen his progression and his growth, they'll realize that he's really, matured into this really, quarterback that has attitude, that has personality, that has swagger. And I think he understands what he wants to get done throughout the course of a football game. So I've had a chance to really watch him up close and personal. He's so mature. He's so humble. But he's definitely excited about the next level. And I think he's more so excited to really prove people wrong and to prove, himself right.
Yo, my man,
Tyron,
not to put on the pom-poms or anything like that. I know we got to go, but I just want to let you know, man, all of us up here are proud of you. Not just the way that you play, but the way that you've grown in the whole bit, man. You deserve all the success that's come your way, man. Nothing but the best to you and your family. Keep doing your thing.
Thank you. I appreciate it, guys. Thank you so much.
Yeah, always a pleasure. And congrats on that chip. Be safe.
Thank you.
When we come back here on First Take, we'll have more on the NBA. Adam Silver has a plan for the future of the association. We will tell you what that is. We'll break it down for you right after this commercial.